Today we're talking about what happens once the INFJ embraces their dark side. Believe it or not, an INFJ who hasn't embraced their dark side is actually more dangerous. And dangerous in the way that you can hurt somebody without wanting to, in a way that you burst out in situations that are just overwhelming to you, and situations that have just pushed you to the edge and you don't know how to get out of that anymore. That is a dangerous INFJ. That is an INFJ who can't really control their emotions. And believe it or not, when we haven't embraced our dark side, and we're going to talk about how to do that in a minute, but before you're able to embrace that part of you, it will come out one way or another, and it will come out in a way that isn't healthy. So today we're going to talk about how to embrace that dark side, how to make it your own, how to accept it, how to love it. And it's not just about like the theory of it or to have like this cerebral, holistic concept. No, it's about day-to-day action. It's about concrete steps that are going to make the difference. Before we get started, I want to remind you the INFJ Epic Life Bootcamp has launched. Our first live session will be this Saturday, November 12th. So make sure you join in the meantime so we can start that great journey together. And I'm really, really excited about it. Every single time INFJs are coming back, it's lifetime access. So you know that there's so much to it if people continue to come back. And so I'm really excited about it, and I hope to see you there. Everything you need to know, you find in the links in the description. When an INFJ doesn't embrace their dark side, we either get into codependent situations where at some point we door slam. For the ones of you who are not familiar with that concept, it's when an INFJ has continued to give and give and give, waiting for the other person to get how much we've actually done for them. And at some point, you just cannot give anymore. You have depleted yourself to the maximum. And that's when we snap. That's when like this monster comes out. And this is also the moment where there's nothing to be saved in that relationship anymore, because you have to put that person in such a mental space that you don't want to have anything to do with them, because there's just nothing left to give. So there's nothing left to save. And the thing is that this situation isn't just painful for the other person, it's painful to us. This part of us comes out that we're so afraid of, that we dislike so much. It's a part of us that is cold and is selfish and doesn't take into consideration how others are feeling. Because for the first time in that relationship, we cannot think of what the other person might be going through. We just don't have the capacity for it yet. And very often, and this is something you read or you see online over and over again, it is the INFJ, was all good, and the INFJ wanted to help and they wanted this relationship, and the other person is a narcissist, the other person abused, our goodwill, and, it's not our fault. And yes, you might say that, and of course, it's never the fault of the victim. But, does that really make you feel better when those situations continue to happen? And second of all, just because the other person should have known better, very often they don't. If you have givers and takers, it's always the givers who have to set a boundary. It's always the givers who have to say, that's it. Because takers cannot do that. And you'll actually have the most peaceful and happy relationships if those boundaries are intact. So what does that have to do with that dark side? Well, the dark side in you is actually the aspect that makes sure that you put yourself first, that there is this selfish component within you. Because a selfish component isn't selfish. It's all about self-love and self-empowerment and being that fierce person who can make something happen. If you think of a person like this, like let's say in a movie, and somebody that you say, oh, that is somebody that people like, and it's somebody that people trust, and it's somebody that is powerful. You know that you see the dark side in them. You know that there is this power within them, that they could hurt somebody. That doesn't mean that they're going to. That doesn't mean that they would want to. It's actually the other way around. Once you embrace that dark side in you, you're not going to get in a situation where you slip out like you did before. For me, the moment I embraced my dark side was the moment where I snapped the most, because I told myself I never want to feel like this again. It was so painful for me. The kind of pain I caused the other person, it was so painful for me that I knew that person could never accept me after what I just put them through, because you as an INFJ know where people's weaknesses lie. You know what would hurt them the most. And because you know that, you actually, have been so kind to them, because this has been always this backup plan. And we're not doing it because we have bad intentions, but it's like the security blanket that we know if, things get really, really hard, we have this in the back of our, repertoire. We have something that we can, put out there. And if it happens in a way where we're not controlling it, that's when the biggest catastrophes happen. That's when it really hurts us and others. And it's a situation and an emotion I never wanted to feel again. And so I knew I had to live differently. I cannot wait for others to get that I am a good-natured person. You cannot wait for it. Because what you're doing in that moment is saying, I don't believe that my part, my goodness is good enough to be protected. Because if I actually believe that, I would protect myself. I wouldn't wait for somebody to give me the feedback of I'm worth it, right? Because that's what we're actually doing here. We're saying that person has to find out in some way that I'm good, because I keep on giving and giving and giving. I'm giving way more than any other person would. At that moment, they just have to figure out, and they have to finally admit to themselves how good of a person I am. And they have to, give back to me, what I was hoping, which is the feedback of you're good, you're kind, you deserve to be respected. But what you're really doing is telling that person, I don't believe that. Because if I did believe it, my inner dark side would protect me. I would be that king or that queen on some level in my psyche that would make sure that that goodness is protected, that I'm protecting my inner child, that I have to be the adult that's going to protect that kind part of me. And that is actually your dark side. Think again of that queen or that king or some kind of leader in any kind of movie or any kind of situation that you've known. That is always some kind of archetype. And that, what you see in that archetype, that is what we carry within ourselves. But why are we keeping it hidden? Why are we not embracing it? We're not embracing it because once we do that, you're not at the mercy of others. You're taking control. You're not waiting for them to get it. It's a different kind of connection. You are saying, I'm filling up my void. And once I fill up my void to a certain extent, then I'm connecting to others. Before, it was all about I'm just, hollowing myself out to the most extreme way I can possibly can, so I can put myself into the world of somebody else and I can connect through that. But this is only the second best thing. This is what we've learned as kids when we didn't have other ways to protect ourselves. We found that we're so good at this, and this is the fastest way to get accepted. To be like an extension of somebody else's world. But you're not being loved or liked for who you are. You're being liked and loved for what you show that person. And the moment you become somebody else, the other person isn't going to accept you anymore. And it's not because they're bad people, it's just because you're a completely different person. And on top of that, we're sacrificing so much. We're hollowing ourselves out, and we want the other person to look at us and say, thank you for everything that you're doing for me. Thank you for hollowing yourself out so much to make me comfortable. Thank you. I appreciate the sacrifice you make for me. That's what we are hoping. But what does the other person see? They don't see any of that. They just see us as a person who happens to like similar things like they do. We happen to be somebody who is there and acts the way we do, not being aware of everything that we're doing for them and all the price that we're paying in order to make them comfortable. How could they? We have never told them. We can never show them. So of course, every single time this dark side comes out as this monster, as this like uncontrollable, dark thing that is just selfish and mean and something that you don't even have full control over, people are completely shocked. They never knew you had it in you. And they never knew all the pain that they have caused, because technically they haven't caused it, you have. We, the INFJ, cause this pain to ourselves over and over again. And this hollowing ourselves out part is actually the time when we tap out of our dark side. Our dark side is something that fills ourselves up, right? It's an active energy. It's all about, creating things in the real world, making it our own. It's that fighter, it's that action-driven part of us that isn't all about like, okay, I can adapt myself. Because once you start filling yourself up and you start filling your void up with everything that you want in your life, you cannot give so much to others because you don't understand them. I see this the best in the relationship I have with my best friend, for example. Once we met, which was in college, it was all about like, what does she want? What can I do for her? And it's not that she was the bad person in that scenario. No, because I didn't want to focus on myself. It was easier for me to focus on her. And she needed somebody who focuses completely on her. Now, it's completely different. She's fine being way more independent, and I'm so much better being way more independent. And there's no way I could understand her psyche to such an extent as I could before, because I don't even have the capacity for it. In order to have that capacity, we have to hollow ourselves out. But the price that we're paying is that we might understand the other person better, but we don't understand ourselves. Once you start filling yourself up with that dark side, meaning embracing it, and that means making choices about things that you like better than others, choosing yourself first, being selfish. So every single time you have to make a choice about, am I going to do what I want or am I going to do what the other person wants? Choose what you want. I promise you, you won't turn into this selfish, self-absorbed person, because the fact that you're even asking yourself the question shows you that you're not all about what you want all the time. The people who are like this, they're not even thinking about what might the other person want. If you stand up for what you want and the other person stands up for what they want, you will find the best compromise. If you give up what you want in order to give the other person what they want, and they're not even aware of it, you're always going to feel bad. And you're always going to expect some kind of, recognition for that. But what you want to do is help others from a place of not needing anything back. And we might tell ourselves, no, I don't need anything back. That's just who I am. But trust me, to some extent you do. Because if you're sacrificing certain things and they're not in alignment with what fills yourself up, you're always going to have this kind of scenario. And the way to figure out how to make that happen is to ask yourself, is this what I'm doing helping me and others? Or is it helping others and then me to some extent? You have to feel good in the process of what you're doing. That's why I'm always saying, figure out how you feel best about yourself. What kind of role models and archetypes really make you feel like excited about life? And only once you can show up in that scenario, once you can choose yourself and say, I'm filling myself up, I'm embracing my dark side, I'm embracing the power that I have. Because once I embrace that, I'm content and I'm happy. And if I'm giving something to others, I don't want anything back. It is that scenario where you fill up your own cup of energy, and everything that is overflowing is what you can share with others. And that's a completely different thing than you being in a situation where you're barely keeping your head above water and all that excess energy that you do have is going out in order to save others. I promise you that dark side is not utilized the right way. Embrace it. You are human. You're not this mysterious creature who is all about, giving to others and being selfless and living in the sky. You need to make sure that you're good. I promise you will actually be way kinder. You're going to be way more in alignment. You're going to stick to things way more, and not just towards yourself, but also towards others. That dark side of you is a good thing. That dark side of you is the power that you have. And believe it or not, the more you embrace that dark side, the sweeter you're actually becoming as well. Because if you have that protective layer around you, if you know you're always going to have your own back, then you can also allow yourself to, be more free, to be kinder, to allow people more into your own space. It's not just through this weird way where you're doing everything for others and you're seemingly, being this open book. No, you're allowing people to see you as the person that is also going to make selfish decisions, as also the person who's going to choose themselves. And believe it or not, that's way scarier. Because, you could say, how can somebody not like me if I'm always doing what's best for them? It takes a lot of courage to show up as somebody who chooses themselves as well and to say, I want you to like me because I like myself and I'm choosing myself and I'm willing to stand alone if I have to. If the alternative is to be liked for me neglecting myself and for me not choosing myself. Your dark side belongs to you. Your dark side is part of the bigger package. And if you're not embracing it, if you're not allowing yourself to make this part of it all, you're also not allowing yourself to, live out all those kind and nice aspects of you. And once you allow all of that, you will feel life to a different extent. All of those situations where you feel you're numbed and you don't experience anything and you don't feel anything, all of that will go away. Remember, if you want to learn more about this, if you want to live that INFJ Epic Life on your terms, then join us in this INFJ Epic Life Bootcamp round. We start our first live call this Saturday, November 12th. Everything you need to know you can find in the links in the description. And if you want to watch another video now that is in alignment with today's topic, then watch the video, Why the INFJ Breaks Egos Without Even Trying.